Hey fellas, how you doing? I'm going to try not to be too upset, but I'm going to probably, after I say this, going to get up and walk around because it'll help me a lot. If you don't know, I was medically discharged from the U.S. Army in 2003. No, I don't want to talk about it. I am what is called 100% permanent and total, which means the VA can't give me any more benefits than I already have, and they don't want to hear from me, and I don't want to hear from them. I was also offered and given and granted Chapter 35 benefits, which are for my wife, and my wife is going to eventually have to take care of me. This is a video about how fucked up and how much the VA bureaucracy sucks. Now I'm going to give you some bona fides after I tell you who called me. Today, a woman by the name of Rose Peters called me from phone number 303-399-8020 to tell me that after her diligent look at my case, she had to deny my wife Chapter 35 medical benefits because she looked in a military system from 2017 which said that my wife had TRICARE. Now, I'm going to give you my bona fides now. I'm going to go fucking sit over here. Eventually, after I left the military and stopped being a criminal, I got a job with the Disabled American Veterans. My first, I signed up with the DAV in Detroit, and Detroit sent me to Los Angeles. Then they sent me to Portland, Oregon, which was a fucking nightmare. And then they sent me from there to the Board of Veterans Appeals, where I was not a national service officer. I became a national appeals officer, and I used to write what are called briefs. God, I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember what they're called. Anyways, we would argue our case on the veterans benefit. So you can't just show up. I don't know why. Walked over and pushed her foot onto my foot, but okay, babe, love you. I'm trying to tell a story. You got to go away. Now there's two of them. You know what? All day I've been out here and they haven't been anywhere. So I'm a national appeals officer working at the Board of Veterans Appeals, and I will tell you this. If you're a veteran and you file a claim and it's denied, when it gets to the Board of Veterans Appeals, 6 or 7 out of 10 get overturned in the veteran's favor because the VA sucks ass. So, anyways, I don't know what the hell's going on. Look, I'm just trying to have a good time over here. I don't know what they're doing. So anyways, because after I won a case for a guy who drove a landing ship from all the battleships. He made, I think, 6 or 8 trips during D-Day. And the VA in 1947 denied him tinnitus and hearing loss. I won that case for not only the DAV, but for the veteran back, I think that was maybe 2005. So from 1947 to 2005, I won that case. So I don't know if you guys know much about the Veterans Administration, but when you start, and that's just one of many cases I won. After that, the VA was like, would you like to come work for us? So I went and worked for them at the Appeals Management Center, rating cases for the Veterans Administration. Now I did about, I'd say 18 to 2,000 cases while I worked at the Veterans Administration. And all I did one day is I wanted a 4-day weekend. Anyways, doesn't matter. So I left the Veterans Administration. So now, since 2017, I've been married to my wife, Maria. And when I initially was married to her, I filed a claim for CHAMP VA benefits, which include college as well as medical benefits, so she can be prepared to take care of me as I get older. My initial claim, I don't know if it was lost or whatever else. So a while ago, maybe a couple months ago, I wrote a letter to President Trump and I said, hey, why can't I get any answer from the VA about my CHAMP VA claim for my wife? And today, Miss Rose called me to tell me that my wife, because when she looked into the DEERS system, somehow my wife has TRICARE, so she's not entitled to CHAMP VA medical benefits, which is not true. Whatever your wife or spouse that is going to take care of you as a veteran, she is entitled to what's called the greater benefit. CHAMP VA, education, and medical benefits is always the greater benefit for the veteran and his wife, or whoever his caretaker is. I tried to tell this woman that and here's the nastiest thing about the Veterans Administration. It is easier and faster for any rater to write a denial of a claim. Less work, more production than it is for them to spend the time to write a grant of benefits. That means that the VA system is fucking broken. And the people that work in the VA system, 95% of them have never been in the military. They could give a shit less. They don't know what a rucksack is. They don't know what a road march is. They don't know what combat's like. They've never received fire. They don't know anything. And they hated me when anyways. So I'm going to come over here and tell you again. Her name is Rose Peters. Called me up today to gleefully tell me, oh, I understand. And by the way, this is my third phone call with the Veterans Administration about, Mr. Forsyth, we're going to get to the bottom of this after I wrote to the president. Rose Peters, 303, which I think is in Denver, 399-8020, called me up to tell me, I've done the worst. I've done the best I can. I said, okay, well, what date was the DEERS is defense, I don't know what it is, but it's where you enroll your spouse into the military system. What is the date that you checked when I enrolled into DEERS? I don't have that information. Well, how can you deny me my claim if you haven't done due diligence? And I asked her, do you know about the rule of the greater benefit? She doesn't know shit. All she's trying to do is get my fucking case from here to here off her desk. All she wants to do is get my presidential investigative case off her desk. And what's the easiest way for Rose Peters to do that out of Denver? To deny my case. And you know what they say? To say fuck you and poke you in the eye as a veteran? Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. If you were going to thank me for my service, Rose Peters, you would have granted my wife the greater benefit, which is CHAMP VA over TRICARE. But it's easier for you to just deny that claim. And the only reason Rose Peters called me is because it was a White House email that I sent in. So I spent probably the last 45 minutes typing up another email to President Trump about how I got treated today. And I know how the system works. I cannot tell you how many veterans are out there not getting the benefits they're entitled to, because the people in the Veterans Administration, the bureaucracy, the people that sit on their ass, shine a chair with their ass, and rate or do not rate claims, could give a shit less, and less than, I'd say at least 78% of them aren't veterans. They don't know what wearing a rucksack is. They don't know what a 12-mile road march is. They don't know what it's like to go to basic training. They don't know what it's like to be on one of those fucking ships in the middle of the fucking ocean, being on a submarine. They don't, you know why they don't know, and they don't fucking care. Again, my bona fides are, I was in the Disabled American Veterans. I started out in Los Angeles as a national service officer. I went from Los Angeles to Portland, Oregon as a national service officer. I went from there on a 2-week trial to the Board of Veterans Appeals to work for Roy Spicer. I wish if I could pick a father or a father figure, it would be Roy Spicer. I love that man. Anyways, love him. Anyway, doesn't fucking matter. Let me get to the fucking point. I won tons and tons of cases because the VA is more concerned about moving this case from this desk to that desk. They're not worried about doing the right thing. I just want to get your fucking case off my desk to somebody else. Rose Peters at 303-399-8020 did that to me today. I've been fighting for Chapter 35 benefits for my wife under the greater benefit since 2017, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That is 9 years I have been fighting for my wife to get her benefits. If you would like to help me, please like. I've never asked you to like or subscribe. Please like and subscribe. And please send something to the White House. Send something to the VA about how fucked up the system is. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of veterans who should be getting VA benefits that don't, because there's no accountability at the VA. Let me tell you this. When a VA rater, which is the person who decides yes or no on your case, gets a case wrong, what happens to them? Nothing. When a rater, or what is it called, a decision review officer, is one step higher at the local rating office, a DRO is what they're called, decision rating officer, says no because that rater said no, and they're wrong, what happens to them? Nothing. Not a fucking thing. And then your case goes from there to the Board of Veterans Appeals, where it can sit between 3 and 12 years. And in fact, several times, they'll wait for the veteran to die before they rate the case. Because once it gets to the Veterans Appeals Administration, BVA, Board of Veterans Appeals, the judges there, they're not beholden to the VA or anything. They can do what the fuck they want. Anyway, let me just get to the fucking point. The system is rigged. They don't fucking care. They're not accountable. Rose Peters, 303-399-8020. She's not accountable to me. She's not accountable. She just told me basically, and as nice as she could, I'm denying your case. Fuck off. Go get in line again. Mind you, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That's 9 years I've been waiting for this. And what do they do? What do they do if they get their feet held to the fire? We don't have record of your claim from 2017. And that makes you look. My name was Obama. I wouldn't have this fucking problem. My last name was Clinton. If I was a senator or congressman, I wouldn't have any fucking problems at all. But you know what I am? I'm just some regular fucking guy who worked for the United States Secret Service, TSD Division, as an EOD sergeant for Ronald Reagan, George Bush, and Clinton. Bill Clinton. I worked at the White House for them. I had to go through all kinds of shit to get there. Now, that doesn't fucking matter. How about if I did the same kind of fucking bullshit work that they're doing for me at the VA when there's a car coming in? Or I'm supposed to sweep something for the president, and they go up to me, the TSD agent, Sergeant Forsyth, is this area clear? Yeah, it's clear. Yeah, it's done. Nah, I did the best I could. And something happens to the president. What the fuck do you think would happen to me? But these fucking dickheads in the VA get away with murder. People, veterans, their family members die and don't get the benefits they receive because people like Rose Peters, 303-399-8020 don't give a fucking shit about the greater benefit. And you know what? The people between me and President Trump could give a shit less. And all they're trying to do is fucking poke me in the eye and try to get me to fuck off. Go get back in line. Go get back in line. Go get back in line. It'll just take you another 3 to 7 to 12 years. Go get back in line. Our systems are fucking broke unless you know the right person, and that's wrong. So, love you guys. I needed to do this. You don't have to like or subscribe, but if you're a veteran and you need some kind of help, I won a lot of cases. I don't want, anyways, I was working for the DAV as a National Service Officer, a National Appeals Officer at the Board of Veterans Appeals. I went and became a supervisor at the Washington, D.C. office for the DAV, which is inside the Appeals Management Center. I then became a raider for the Appeals Management Center. And I can't get my fucking good claim appealed since 2017. What the fuck? All right, I've had enough. Love you guys. Stay safe and healthy. Take care of each other if you can. And if you can't, take care of yourself. If you work for the VA and you're not a veteran and you like denying claims, fuck you. Bye-bye.